Out-of-town son or daughter. It's an interesting phenomenon because obviously the majority of the families that we work with have at least one or more sons or daughters out of town. And then often there's like a local child as well. And so it creates an interesting dynamic. One thing that commonly happens is the brunt of all of the work and responsibility falls on the kids who are here because they're just more available and able. And so they sacrifice their own life, their family time, their work, and like make everything happen for mom and dad. And oftentimes it can create like a sense of bitterness. At first it happens very gradually. They just do it because they're close by and it makes all the sense in the world. But after doing it for years, it creates a little bit of bitterness. And then we see, the out-of-town kid comes in and they feel guilty coming in town because they honestly feel like they're not there enough for their mom or dad. And so when they come in town, they want to make decisions and make things happen. And they're often surprised at how much their parents have declined over the span of time in which they've seen them. And so then that creates tension between the local sibling and the sibling from out of town. And it's pretty sad because everybody's heart usually is in a pretty good place. They really want to care for mom or dad well, or both of them, and they care about them. But you see these misses in communications, and it's hard. So, but we've seen some families who have done it really well. And I think the keys that we've seen that make this work really well is, number one, just having a cadence to the out-of-town person coming. Oftentimes, you obviously when you're out of town, you're not going to be able to be here as much as the local kid. But if you can just say look, I'm committing to come quarterly or monthly or whatever that looks like, that allows your parents to have something to look for, something they can fixate on, especially if they have memory loss. That's really helpful to be this kid will be in town in a couple months. You can look forward to that. And then it kind of frees the out-of-town kid up from maybe the guilt of feeling oh my gosh, should I go this weekend or haven't seen her in a while. It just creates a natural rhythm to it that's helpful. And then secondly, I'm just acknowledging it. So a lot of gratitude. There's no way it's totally going to be balanced in sharing the load of supporting parents with an out-of-town kid, but just a lot of gratitude to the kid that is local. I saw one family do this super well. The daughter was in California, the son was here, and the daughter would come in and spend a week or two. But whenever she'd come or when we'd be on conference calls with her, she would just express a ton of gratitude to her brother who was in town and who was kind of here day to day. And then thirdly, I would say, find something that you can do as the out-of-town son or daughter, right? You might not be able to be there for every birthday that your mom has, but what can you do? We often see out-of-town kids handling the finances, which can be done pretty much remotely now, and that just frees it up. Or helping to make decisions. Often when you're the local kid here, you get kind of immersed in the midst of all the details of what's going on. You can't kind of step back and get a high level view, and that kid from out of town can. So doing Zoom calls or just staying in touch, helping to kind of move the ship forward. I just worked with a family who did that beautifully. This family was really reluctant to have care, and they were really wavering back and forth. The local son was just kind of stepping in and helping his parents when she needed help. And this out-of-town son, just in a really clear, objective way, moved the ball. He said, hey, I'm going to come into town in a month or so. Let's get some interviews lined up with caregivers. Let's get the doctor on board with this. Let's get my dad on board with this, and let's get some care for mom. And so his initiative and perspective was really helpful, and he did it in a really collaborative way to involve his local brother and also his dad in the process. And so bringing that outside perspective can be really helpful. So anyways, just a couple pointers. Never easy when you're the one on the outside or out of town or the one necessarily in town, but there are some strategies that can really be helpful and that we've seen work over the years to encourage relationships and connections.